All right. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. What's up? What's up? Back with another show. I told you so. And back with another conversation. Back with another dope conversation. We're going to get straight to the point. Let's get it. What's up with my people? What's up with our people? Man, you in the right place to be, King Supreme. Salute, salute to the game in a major way. You already know how it go. Sit up there and hit that like button. Sit up there and bless that content. Sit up there and like the show. You know, in a major way, man. Shout out to my people. Hold on, what's your name, man? You talking about? Tell Master you quit. The hell you talking about? Maybe you're just trolling, man. I don't know. The Prince. You guys know, man, last show I was talking about accountability in our community is foundational Black Americans. That's what I was talking about on the last show, right? The point was we need to focus on things that we could change. And what do I mean by that? Well, focus on what you can change. You have complete control over what you eat. You have control over who you hang out with. Who you decide to be friends with. You got complete power over the people that that you be friends with. You have control when it comes to the people that you sleep with. Right? The problem with our people is too many excuses. Like I talked to a few Black women, and shout out to the Black women who get it, but unfortunately, man, we got a large percentage of them who don't. Like when I was talking about abortions, right? Some Black women would say, well, you can't control if a man ain't gonna be with you after you had the baby. I said, yeah, to a degree, that's true, right? But at the same time, a lot of you ladies have made poor choices when it comes to the men that you slept with. Don't take accountability away from the woman. So what she's saying is, well, it don't matter. She can end up a single mother regardless. Guess what? You can get badly injured. You can get hurt bad in the car, even if you got a seatbelt on. But it's stupid to not wear a seatbelt. So what I'm saying is, what I was saying to the women is, you got to be selective. You have to be mindful of who you laying down with. I'm tired of hearing these excuses that a man can leave anyway. That's just an excuse for the women who fall in that category, who had babies with men that don't help them to raise the baby. So what I get from women like that is a bunch of excuses. Hit dogs holler. So they'll make excuses for these women who abort their babies. Another thing is, I had people say, well, white people do it too. White people do it too. Well, let me tell you this. Well, white women abort their babies. Guess what? White people can afford to do that. They're 60+% of the population. We're only 13 or 14% of the population. We can't afford to unalive each other. We can't afford to abort our babies. We're only 13 or 14% of the overall population in this country. If that don't make sense, then I don't know what does. What's the purpose of you telling me what white people do when white people are damn near 70% of the country's population? You can't afford to do what white people do. You're only 13 to 14% of the population in this country. So I don't want to hear nothing about what white people are doing. I don't give a damn about what white people are doing. Too many excuses. Who gives a damn about what white people are doing when we're talking about things that affects foundational Black Americans and Black people in general? Don't nobody give a damn about white women who abort their babies. White people are 60+% of the overall population. We're only 13% of the population. We can't afford to do what white people do. Foundational Black Americans, Black people, we need to focus on things that we have control over. Focus on the things that you have control over. You have control over the things you listen to. You have control when it comes to the people that you're friends with. You have control when it comes to the people that you hang out with. You have control when it comes to the people you have sex with. You have control over how you treat people. Let's focus on the things that we have control over. That's what we need to focus on to better ourselves as individuals, to better ourselves as people. But it all starts with the man in the mirror and the woman in the mirror. Focus on things that you have control over, people. Anyway, let's get to this content, man. Why do I give a damn about what white people are doing? White women abort their babies, yeah, and they're damn near 70% of the population. They can afford to do stupid stuff. We can't. Yeah. Hit the like button. Let's get up in here now. This white woman right here kept it a buck with Hispanics, and the white woman kept it a buck with Black MAGA people. Like, Black MAGA people don't realize that those MAGA people can't stand you. They would lynch you if they had the opportunity to do so. If lynching Blacks was still legal, a lot of these whites would still do it today with impunity. If it was still legal, they would do it and get away with it. So when I see you Blacks walking around with these MAGA hats, man, them white folks don't like you, man. The hell, you look crazy as a Black person walking around with a damn MAGA hat on. Do you really know what white people mean when they say make America great again? America was great to white people when they had you in captivity, when they had you living under Jim Crow laws. That's what they mean when they say make America great again. That's when a white man was in power, in a real position of power. Hit the like button, man. It ain't nothing.
Wake up, nigga.
Today we will hear from a white woman giving Hispanics a massive wake-up call about never being seen as white people among the white community. Check it out.
And again, another one bites the dust. How many videos am I going to have to make to tell you, if you don't look like me, but you think because you're not Black, it's not going to happen to you? It's going to happen to you. And the irony is your proximity to whiteness is never going to save you, and the call is always going to come from inside the house. Let's not forget that just a week and a half ago, they found a 19-year-old Latino boy hanging outside of a police department in Washington, D.C. We will never like you. We will never accept you. We will use you. We will abuse you, and then we will toss you aside. She's a dead woman walking. If she'll get drunk and get on Instagram on somebody else's page and talk like this, do you imagine what she says within the police department with other officers? So now they're thinking if she'll yap, she'll yap. So we need to worry about that. We'll never protect you. We'll never choose you. And you are not safe with us.
Hi, I'm Kylie, and here are the top 5 racist things white people say about Hispanic people in private. I've gotten a lot of requests for this one, so I wanted to start by saying 2 things. Number 1, I was raised in California, so probably the most discrimination that I've seen has been anti-Hispanic, anti-Latino. And number 2, if you're a white person and you do these things, stop doing them. Number 1, a lot of white people refer to Latino people as either this term or this term behind their back. If you don't know the history behind these terms, please look them up because they're rooted in a very dark history of discrimination. Number 2, white people cannot stop talking about the number of children in Latino families. If a white person asks you how many kids that you have, be careful because they could be thinking a number of judgmental or racist things. Number 3, I've heard a number of comments specifically about Latina girls about how they will not go anywhere because they're just going to get pregnant. It doesn't matter that plenty of white women get pregnant. Number 4, the tendency of white people to assume that any Spanish-speaking Latino is here illegally. And number 5, the tendency of white people to try to exploit the labor of Latino people. There's a stereotype that they will do very hard work, very good work for very low pay. So you will see white people often hire.
That's not a stereotype. It's actually true. Mexicans who cross the border will do work that Americans won't do. Now, it's not that we won't do it. We won't do it for that same amount of pay. If you can't get an American to work for those low wages, you damn sure can get a Mexican to do it. That's why the white man allows so many Mexicans to come over, because bringing Mexicans to this country is the closest thing that they'll ever get to slavery. Can't get the Black man to do slave work no more. Well, forget it. We'll just get Mexicans to do it. That is a reality. It's bigger than a stereotype, baby.
Is here illegally. And number 5, the tendency of white people to try to exploit the labor of Latino people. There's a stereotype that they will do very hard work, very good work for very low pay. So you will see white people often hire contractors who are Hispanic in order to avoid paying other people.
There's a lot of self-hating Latinos on this app, like Latinos for Trump. And obviously, they think they're white, they try to cater to white Republicans. They're desperate for acceptance, which, they'll never get. And I find it very interesting because never once have I seen a white Republican, repost their videos or share their videos or like their videos or leave a comment saying that they support them. Never. If you go to their comment section, all you're gonna see is other self-hating Latinos. It's like a little circle jerk of self-hate. They're so desperate for acceptance that they seek validation within themselves. If you don't believe me, go to any of their videos and just go look at the comments. And I'll take it even a step further. You guys remember Tortas Manantial, that Mexican restaurant in Phoenix that came out saying that they were MAGA and now they're going bankrupt? I have not seen a single white Republican or a MAGA content creator come out and say, you know what, let's go support Tortas Manantial, let's go take them out of bankruptcy. Not one. Tortas Manantial is pro-MAGA, but MAGA is not pro-Tortas Manantial. I just find it very interesting how the people that they're so desperate to be accepted by do not care about them at all. It's such a bizarre inferiority complex, almost like Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, man, but that's what happens when you fight to be legally white. Mexicans did fight to be legally white. You ain't got to take my word for it. Look it up. It's part of American history. I'm telling you the truth, family. When white people couldn't get black people to work for pennies no more, they said, okay, we'll get Mexicans to do it. We'll get Mexicans. Mexicans will become our new slaves. We don't need black folks no more. We'll bring in millions of Mexicans across the border to work these low-wage jobs that blacks and whites don't want to work. Simple solution. Can't get black folks to do it? Bring in a gang of Mexicans. Mexicans will do it.
But there you have it, guys. I have not seen a single white Republican support any of these Latinos for Trump. But anyways, let me know what you guys think.
And the only type of Mexicans I do not like is self-hating Mexicans. I don't like them. I am Mexican. I grew up with a cousin who's a self-hating Mexican who came here illegally, got her documentation, and now that she has papers, she thinks she's better than everybody. And mind you, she's darker than me. She is brown. Like, she honestly could pass for something else, but whatever. Like, she is super brown. And she, despises everything about being Mexican. And I knew it at a younger age because when I was younger and I grew up with my cousins, because we grow up close. When I grew up with my cousins, she would say, during the George Bush era, George Bush was giving out, a reward if you were to give up an undocumented immigrant. And she would be like,
somebody said if cheap labor was needed, they wouldn't. Let me see what you said again. If cheap labor is needed, they wouldn't be automating everything. Well, you're talking about what's going on now. I'm talking about what's been going on for the last 50 to 60 years in this country. You can go back to the 1960s. Once they realized they couldn't get blacks to work for pennies, they brought in millions of Mexicans to do it. Now, you can talk about what's going on now, how they're automating a lot of stuff. Yes, they're doing that now. But we're talking about why so many Mexicans was allowed to come to this country in the first place. It was all based on cheap labor. White people didn't bring Mexicans over because they liked them so much, because they were friends with them. It's capitalism. We're going to get you to work for pennies. It's the closest thing since slavery, since we can't get black folks to work those jobs for pennies no more. Bringing Mexicans over was a simple solution to the white man. That's the closest thing we'll ever get to slavery. Bring Mexicans over, they'll do it. We're talking about, hey, man, go all the way back to the 50s and 60s when they started to allow a lot of these people from south of the border to come over. They did it for that reason right there, cheap labor, and for no other reason. They might listen. Now the white people are looking at it like, okay, these Mexicans are a problem. If we keep these borders open, the Mexicans gonna mess around and overpopulate everybody, and the white man ain't having it. That's why they're putting a stop to a lot of this now, but they're only putting a stop to it now because the Mexican population, it affects white people. When the Latino population only affected black people, whites didn't give a damn. White people only give a damn because it affects them now.
I know somebody accused threatening. I knew it at a younger age because when I was younger and I grew up with my cousins, because we grow up close. When I grew up with my cousins, like, she would say, like, during the George Bush era, George Bush was giving out like a reward if you were to give up an undocumented immigrant. And she would be like, I know somebody accused threatening my mom to call ICE on her, basically. And her and my other cousin would do that to her. And my mom still remembers that to this day. Like, it messed her up really bad. But she forgave them, whatever. It is what it is. But all I have to say is there's a lot of self-hating Latinos out here that despise where they come from, despise being brown, they would rather look more white than to look more indigenous. Like, it is sad. And I just have to say that, like, with everything going on, if you get offended by this, there's a lot of us. Not a lot of us. I'm saying there's a lot of us that are sick of it. That we look at y'all and y'all are embarrassing us. Like, y'all literally are embarrassing us because people think that because you are.
Shout out to the homegirl Steffi Weffy for sponsoring the show with that 5-0. Shout out to Steffi for sponsoring the show with the 5-0. Appreciate you, sweetie. Yeah. Let's continue.
Are self-hating Mexican. Now I'm a self-hating Mexican. No, we're not the same. We're not the same. And I'm telling you, if they don't like where they came from, they don't like nothing. They're gonna be super prejudiced, say things that is just inappropriate. Like, and it's really crazy because a lot of them are miserable people. So just know that whenever you want to argue with somebody and they're brown and their ideologies are crazy, they're miserable. And it's okay. Like, they're just miserable people. And trust me, I have one cousin like that. I don't talk to them. Who cares? Let her do her. But go over there in misery. Like, you look the way you do. And it's crazy because it be the ones with the nopal in the face. That means the cactus in the face. It be the ones that look super Mexican. They be like, I'm pro blah, blah, blah. And your mom and your dad came here illegally. And now because you got papers and you were born in America, you think you're different? Sell that shit to somebody else.
It's taken me multiple years to fully understand the self-hatred that is so deeply rooted within the Latino community. And I especially see this with older Latinos that were born outside of the US, but I'm also still seeing it within Latinos that are young and were born here. For example, whenever I tell white Americans that if the Republican Party had better stances on immigration, I think they would have more of the Latino vote. And not only that, I mean, you still see Latino for Trumps, which is mind-boggling to me. And I think a lot of people fail to realize that the older generation is incredibly conservative. They are deeply rooted in Catholicism. And so with that comes a lot of those conservative beliefs. Another thing that I find is that once Latinos are able to gain citizenship, they will quickly turn on their people. I'm not like trying to trash like my mom or dad, but I hear them constantly say about like, we came here the right way, whatever that means for them. It boggles my.
Oh, she said when Latinos get citizenship, they turn their backs on the ones who don't. Well, well, black people are just, when black people get money, you think they give a damn about poor folks once they get money? Absolutely not. They're not going to try. They're not going to build that community. They're going to take their family and get the hell up out of that community. Getting the hell on, damn it. So basically what she's saying is when Latinos get citizenship and get a leg up, they don't give a damn about the ones that's undocumented. Well, like I said, when we get money as black folks, we don't give a damn about poor people. If anything, black people brag about the money they have and talk about how broke other black people are. What's the first thing rappers do when they get money? Start talking crazy about broke people. Oh, I got 50 G's on my wrist, 50 G's on my neck. You guys are broke, blah, 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 blah. That's the first thing black folks do when they get money. They shame broke people. They shame the same broke people that they grew up with who still live in the hood. And you can't tell me I'm lying. Listen to the rap music. The moment Negroes get some money, they start clowning broke people. So what I realize is some of this is the same mentality. I got mine, you got to get yours. I got mine, you got to get yours. Black folks with money don't give a damn about black folks that's living in poverty. They don't.
Mind because out of everyone, they should know how broken the immigration system is. And my parents are retired now, and I heard them.
Nah, man, when black folks get money, the first thing they do is make fun of broke people. That's a part of the culture. You got money, make fun of broke people. That's a part of our culture. Let's keep it a stack. In Mexican culture, when they get citizenship, they don't give a damn about the Mexicans who don't have citizenship unless it's their family members, unless it's their direct people. Now, to a certain extent, you see Mexicans campaigning for open borders, fighting to legalize border hopping. But on another level, a lot of these Mexicans don't give a damn, because when you think about it, the majority of Mexicans voted for Donald Trump. So that means that Mexicans who have citizenship really didn't give a damn about the ones who don't have citizenship. That's a prime example.
Talking about Venezuela. Another thing that I find is that once Latinos are able to gain citizenship, they will quickly turn on their people. I'm not like trying to trash like my mom or dad, but I hear them constantly say about like, we came here the right way, whatever that means for them. It boggles my mind, because out of everyone, they should know how broken the immigration system is. And my parents are retired now, and I heard them talking about Venezuelans and how they're taking jobs, and I just came in and I was like, you're retired. Does it even bother you? Or like, it doesn't harm you in any way right now? And they just, they kind of ignore me when I make these comments. But also, I still like see this like self-hatred sometimes, even within the younger generation that were born here. So for example, my dad's side, a lot of them, my cousins are US born Americans, Latinos, but they work for Border Patrol. And it's like, just grandma was an immigrant, and it boggles my mind. I've also seen it with my brother. He has a lot of deeply rooted hatred for his community. But basically this all stems down to colonization within Latin America, and how much this affects the Latino community is insane to me. But anyways, maybe this is a controversial topic and I'll ruffle some feathers, but let me know what your thoughts are.
Thank God that my ancestors were men from Spain and women from the native women, you want to call it whatever. Because imagine if it was the other way around, if my ancestors were native men and then the other one was Spanish women. I don't think so. That would not go well, One way to tell if you're mestizo, Spanish blood and native blood: brown, white, tan, white, tan, white. There you go. There you go.
Self-hating Latinos that want to be white are something else. They're really special. Teddy. ¿Te acuerdan de Teddy sin censura? You remember Teddy? The one who said that Puerto Ricans they need a special document to be citizens. Well, he's back. And somehow he thinks now that being white is better. That having the Spanish blood. Mira, Teddy, let me tell you something. I'm more Spaniard than you. I got 30% blood from fucking Madrid because my grandparents are from Spain. But you think they would accept me if I went to Spain? No, bro. They would look at me as just another fucking Puerto Rican that's black. They don't give a shit about us. They don't give a shit about you either, especially you. If you went to Spain, they would just see you as another Mexican with zero Spanish blood. They would ask you for tacos. They don't give a shit about you.
I've been saying that for a while. When Latinos call themselves Spanish, I say, "Oh, you think you Spanish? Go to Spain." People in Spain gonna say, "No, you're Mexican. You're not Spanish. You're Puerto Rican. You're not Spanish." So all my Latinos, stop calling yourself Spanish just because you speak the language. The Spanish people will not accept you in Spain at all. That's like me. That's like me calling myself English because I speak the language. If I went to England and called myself English, they would laugh at me. You're not Spanish because you speak Spanish. You're not English just because you speak the language. Let's set the record straight. They're laughing at you hard.
You keep doing you. Que tengan buen día.
You will never be a part of the white community, okay? And let me hold your hand while I say this. You will never be a part of the white community. No matter how whitewashed you are, no matter if you don't speak your native language, no matter if you don't have an accent, no matter if you get your steak medium rare, you will never be part of the white community. I myself am Mexican, my husband is white, and the privilege that comes with that, for him, never for me, for him, everything that he doesn't understand. And I don't understand like Hispanics that are just so openly against their own people. I don't get that. I mean, like my son, I am raising him fully rooted in the fact that he knows he's Mexican and he will never be ashamed of that. A lot of people that support different thoughts that don't align with them and what they look like there's a lot of self-hatred in that. There's a lot of lack of self-acceptance. My sister-in-law is white. My husband.
I agree with you, Danny Valencia. I agree with you, Danny Valencia. A lot of Mexicans have 55 to 70% European ancestry, but the Spaniards will never accept them. It don't matter how much Spanish blood they have, the people in Spain will never accept them. They'll never accept them. A Mexican can pull up to Spain and say he's 80% Spaniard. People in Spain still won't accept him. They won't. But what you're saying is correct, though.
My husband is white. We are surrounded by white people all the time, and we will never be part of that community. It's insane to me when people shit on their own culture and their own people. And that's just the reality that we live in today.
This is definitely no surprise to me. There's a lot of colorism in Latin America due to their colonization from Europeans. They discriminate against any dark-skinned person in their families, on their jobs, etc. For centuries, anti-blackness and colorism have existed throughout much of Latin America, rooted in European colonization, slavery, and caste systems imposed by the Spanish and Portuguese empires. Long before modern immigration debates, African-descended people in places like Brazil, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and across the Caribbean were dealing with systems that privileged whiteness and often marginalized Black identity. After colonization, societies developed racial hierarchies where lighter skin often meant greater opportunity, social acceptance, and economic mobility. That legacy did not disappear. It evolved into modern colorism, where skin tone can affect marriage prospects, hiring, status, and even how people are treated within their own families. Look at television and media in many Spanish-language countries. For decades, telenovelas, news broadcasts, and advertising often centered white-presenting or European-looking faces, while Afro, Latino, and indigenous people were underrepresented or stereotyped. That was not accidental. Media helped normalize who was seen as beautiful, educated, respectable, and powerful. This is bigger than personal prejudice. It has been structural. Even scholars in Black American studies and Latin American studies have examined anti-Blackness not only as social bias, but as something embedded in institutions, schools, policing, labor systems, and immigration hierarchies. The myth of racial democracy, especially in places like Mexico and Brazil, often hid deep inequalities rather than solving them. And when people migrate, they do not leave all social attitudes behind. Most times, class prejudices, color hierarchies, or anti-Black stereotypes will travel too. In the United States, that has at times contributed to tensions between some immigrant communities and some foundational Black American communities, especially around jobs, housing, politics, and economic competition. A historically grounded argument shows that tensions between segments of Mexican American political leadership and Black Americans did not begin recently, but have roots in older struggles over race, status, labor, and power. During the Jim Crow and civil rights eras, certain leaders sought advancement by distancing themselves from Black Americans and from Blackness itself. Critics have argued that this did not challenge the racial hierarchy of America so much as seek a different place within it. That criticism has been directed at parts of the history of League of United Latin American Citizens, particularly where legal and political strategies emphasize separation from Black identity. That history connects to a broader pattern scholars have identified across parts of Latin America and the United States. anti-blackness, and the minimizing of foundational Black Americans' contributions to history. The struggle over Afro-Mexican recognition, for example, has often been cited as evidence that Black identity was marginalized or erased from official narratives. Critics say when Black presence is erased from history, it becomes easier to erase Black claims in the present. Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information in. Today, we will hear from Black Americans' reaction to the late deporting.
Hit the like button if you haven't already. Right after this, we're going to switch on over to the Black MAGA people and how white people who are MAGA truly feel about them, right? I don't know why these Black MAGA supporters feel like white people embrace them when white people really can't stand you. They don't like you. Don't want to deal with you. Matter of fact, we're going to do that. I'm going to come back to this one right quick. I'm going to come back to this one. I'm gonna come back to this one, right? And we're gonna go over to the Black MAGA people, and we're gonna show you how whites truly feel about you Black folks claiming all this MAGA nonsense. Hold on one second. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. Oops, my bad. My bad. Here we go.
You know, for years, we've been telling other groups how these folks really get down, and they think that they could go join the Republican Party and be hardcore Republicans, right? And we sit up there and told them, bruh, them people don't get down with you like that, bruh. Like, I don't know why you doing that. And the crazy part is these other groups go take on their talking points to talk about Black people. But we're seeing now more and more people up there, because the white community is coming out and telling them now that the truth about what they actually position is in relation to dealing with them. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Absolutely staggering to me as a white Southern woman that grew up in a white Southern family. The amount of minorities that are hardcore conservative Republicans, right? They're trying so hard to get in wherever they can fit in with these racist white folks. And I'm like, listen here, buddy. These people would take your life and find literal joy in it. Okay? These people literally would take your life if it was not illegal as of right now in 2026 to do so. Are you okay? Are you like what's going on up here? I'm a woman, okay? I'm a white woman and I don't feel safe around conservatives, Republican conservatives. What the makes you think as a brown person, as a gay person, as a brown gay person, as a woman in general, what makes you feel safe around these people? I just genuinely honey, something ain't clicking. Something ain't clicking. You're not in their club. You ain't never gonna be in their club.
In so many words, she's telling you that you're slow. She said something ain't clicking, something ain't clicking. In other words, she's telling you that you're slow. You lack critical thinking skills. You have a low IQ. If you truly believe that those white MAGA folks give a damn about you, they don't. They will lynch you if they could. They will get rid of you if they could. This white woman has told you in the nicest way that she can tell you that you're dumb and you got a low IQ if you believe that those white MAGA folks really rock with you like that. In so many words, she told you that you're dumb. That was a polite way of telling you that you're dumb for being a Black person walking around with a MAGA hat.
That grew up in a white Southern family. The amount of minorities that are hardcore conservative Republicans, right? They're trying so hard to get in wherever they can fit in with these racist white folks. And I'm like, listen here, buddy. These people would take your life and find literal joy in it. Okay? These people literally would take your life if it was not illegal as of right now in 2026 to do so. Are you okay? Are you what's going on up here? I'm a woman, okay? I'm a white woman and I don't feel safe around conservatives, Republican conservatives. What the makes you think as a brown person, as a gay person, as a brown gay person, as a woman in general, what makes you feel safe around these people? I just genuinely honey, something ain't clicking. Something ain't clicking. You're not in their club. You ain't never gonna be in their club. Then people don't want you around. They don't want you in their country. They don't want you in their neighborhoods. Baby, they don't want you on this earth. Just like 40, 50 years ago, it was legal for them to take your life, and they were doing it literally a lot because they could. It was a form of entertainment. It was joy for them. And here y'all are in 2026 lining up to be their little tokens. Like, I don't know if I'm just, it's just not clicking for me, dog.
And it's never clicked for me either.
She told black people who are MAGA in so many words that you're dumb. You're deaf, dumb, and blind. You're delusional. She said it in the nicest way that she could say it. I've been saying this. When white people say make America great again, what they mean is America was great when they had blacks in slavery, when they had blacks in captivity, when they had blacks living under Jim Crow laws. That's white folks' idea of America being great. That's when white folks had more power in this country. That's exactly what they mean when they say make America great. I've been saying this for years. You got black folks walking around with a MAGA hat. Then white folks will lynch you if they can get away with it. They would delete you and deport you out of this country if they could. Yeah.
Because I know what these people say about us and other groups. And yet these other groups come to this country and they go repeat the same talking points. Black people are lazy. Black people on welfare. Black people on food stamps. I'm like, do you know what they actually say about you? Repeating what they're saying? And then we all know the truth. You know, everybody knows the truth that actually the people that was saying black people on food stamps was the main one on food stamps. You remember when the government was shut down and they couldn't, and the federal workers couldn't get anything, or they thought that it was going to be black people lined up. And when the government was shut down and food stamp lines and food bank lines, no, it was lines of white people in these lines. So you know those images just destroyed everything they ever said about black people. Black people wasn't begging for food.
I don't know why it's so hard for black people to realize what I just said. Make America great again means that they wish they could enslave you. They wish they could lynch you. They wish they could send you up out of this country like they're doing to the Mexicans. If white folks had it their way, they would get rid of you. Even you black folks that's walking around with MAGA hats, white folks would get rid of you if they could. That's how foolish you black MAGA people are. You're dumb. Those white folks would get rid of you if they could. If you got a bunch of white MAGA people together and you said, would you guys want to send black folks to Africa? You know what they say? Hell yeah, let's get rid of the blacks. But they can't get rid of the blacks. They tolerate you. They don't want to be friends with you. They tolerate you because they have to.
One thing about us, we'll figure it out, bro. Shoot, give us a couple of dollars. We're going to figure something out. We'll put a meal together. We'll find out whatever we got in our pantry. But these other groups think that joining with them, and I'm so, like say, this lady here and the other one that made the same kind of content to let them know you would never be part of us. You would never be part of the crowd. We'll use you and everything. This woman took a step further, saying that, look, if it wasn't illegal for them to do so, they would be unaliving them. That we do know as black Americans. But, you know, I'm a firm believer of this. Let them find out on their own. Let them find out. Because sometimes they're going to have to hear from a white person telling them, or they're going to have to find out the hard way. And they said
if white folks could deport blacks like they're doing Mexicans, they would do it in a heartbeat. Put a one in the comment section if you agree with that. If them white folks could deport black folks and get rid of us, they would do it in a heartbeat. Even you black folks is walking around with MAGA hats. If white folks if white folks could get rid of you, they would do it instantly. They are not your friends. They tolerate you. They don't like you. There's a major difference.
They found a Latino time that they're going to have to hear from a white person telling them, or they're going to have to find out the hard way. And they said just recently they found a Latino, unalived outside of some police station or something like that in D.C. And half of that community go vote Republican, and a lot of that community think they're white. You know, they got revitiligo, a lot of them, like look, Uncle Ruckus have, right? But us as black people, you know, I said this. No, we shouldn't be no Republican. No, we should be no Democrat either. We should be politically independent. We should only focus on our wants, needs, and issues politically. And if whatever party or whatever, let me not say party, whatever candidate is going to give us our tangibles, that's the candidate we go with. We don't even look at a party. I don't care what party you're from. What are you going to do for black Americans? Period. But we can't join the party. Let me tell you why black people really cannot join the Republican Party in mass. What that woman talked about right there, for one. And two, they're going to be racist. And then you're going to be put in a position with it. You're going to either have to take it and then defend yourself to black people while you're taking the racism, or you're going to have to call it out when you hear it. And a lot of you that join that party a lot of times don't want to call it out when you hear it. Now, I'm not telling you how to vote. Vote how you want. I'm a firm believer, vote your interest and vote what's needed for the community.
See, voting for Donald Trump doesn't make you a Republican or a conservative. A lot of people voted for Donald Trump because Donald Trump is deporting these immigrants. There's people, you got people who don't even like Donald Trump, but they voted for him based on the fact that he's getting rid of these illegals. That serves a purpose to this country. It serves a better purpose to the black community to get rid of all these damn illegals. I don't vote with my feelings. I vote based on policies. This had nothing to do with me liking Donald Trump. I said, if he's going to get rid of the immigrants, he can get my vote if he's going to get rid of these damn illegals. Ain't got nothing to do with my damn feelings. I'm dealing with policies.
At that time period. But being a part of any kind of political party, that's no. Now, I know some people may run on a party ticket in a particular district. For instance, if you are a Democrat in a Democrat district, right? I mean, 90% of people in that district vote Democrat. You're not going to win if you don't run as a Democrat. I'm just being honest with you. You may not even agree with Democrat at all. If you're in a Republican district and you go out to run as a Republican, even though you don't agree with Republican, if you're trying to get in, that's playing the game for where you live in. Or you can just make sure to live in areas where you know you're politically political allegiance aligned. Let me say that word, align. And but that's for people that want to run for office. Me, I'm not even thinking about something like that. My main thing is what tangibles you going to give me. That's it. But these other groups and some of our own people are finding out the hard way, or have found out the hard way, that these people do not cut for them whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But shout out to this lady for putting this out here. I appreciate that messaging, because they need to know. They definitely need to know. If these other groups would actually come in America and get on code, it wouldn't be no issues and problems. They complain about Trump and all that, but really, let's call it what it is. Half of the Latino community voted for Trump. Half of the Asian community voted for Trump too. So you can't complain on Trump when they're the reason why he's in office right now. Because I'm telling you, I'm not going to let people sit up here and put it at the feet of black people. Oh, y'all didn't show up to vote. BS. Black people did show up to vote. Maybe not every single black person registered to vote, but not every single white person registered to vote didn't show up either.
Well, the overwhelming majority of black votes voted for Kamala Harris. They ought to be embarrassed. But that's the unfortunate reality. The overwhelming majority of black votes voted for Kamala Harris. And if you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for open borders, abortion, and rainbow community policies. And the Democrats promoted gender confusion to our children, telling boys that they can be girls and telling girls that they can be boys. The Democrats promoted gender confusion to our children. They'll never get my vote. No, sir.
And for sure, at the feet of black people, oh, y'all didn't show up to vote. BS. Black people did show up to vote. Maybe not every single black person registered to vote, but not every single white person registered to vote didn't show up either. And for sure, Asian people and Latinos had a whole lot more to lose with Trump being in office, especially if you're undocumented. And if you didn't think it was urgent for you to go to the poll and vote the way you to save your family, and what we gonna do about it? No matter who in office, black people are good. That I can tell you. Because we going to figure it out.
I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump, we love you, Donald Trump.
Deporting thousands of Cubans. Check it out.
Cubanos por Trump to the front of the room. Do y'all remember that movement?
Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Vote for Donald Trump. I love my freedom. I will vote for Donald Trump.
A few moments later,
A wave of disappointment. One of President Donald Trump's most loyal voting blocs, Cuban and Venezuelan immigrants. Now speaking out in Miami, a Republican stronghold, as the recent wave of deportations hits home.
Ay, sí, usted está aquí por su esposo. Por mi esposo que fue detenido ahora injustamente.
I will vote for Donald Trump. Everybody, come on.
¡Injusticia! ¡Es esto! ¡Injusto! Esto es para cualquiera. Tienen lista con abogados, sin abogados, que esto es como quiera. Como si fuera un delincuente. No hay ningún delincuente cumpliendo derechos en este país. Y mira lo que le hacen. ¡Injusticia! ¿Qué caso tenía su esposo? Y 220A con fecha de corte. ¿Y que estaba detenido? ¿Qué había presentado? El asilo. Pero nada, a ellos no les importa que tú tengas asilo. A ellos no les importa nada. Eso es al azar. Porque por favor, que ayuden, que traten de apoyar a mi esposo como apoyar a los...
but the fact that y'all thought this man was going to protect you with what he showed us in his first term is beyond imagination. But there's something different between Cubans and Venezuelans like this than other Latinos, because see, they thought they had the complexion for protection. They thought they was white enough and blonde enough that they would slip under the radar, but they learned today. Now, what about the infamous singer? And not for nothing, that actually low-key, minus the lyrics, was a banger. Let's see what happened to her.
It's been happening frequently at the 333 Miami Avenue Federal Court building. Janet Correa's husband was detained this week. According to her immigration lawyer, he has already been placed on expedite removal.
So let's see, you weren't light enough, you weren't loud enough in your support for him, and as great as you sing, and you do, you couldn't even sing good enough to get him to pick you. And if you had listened to everybody else, when we kept telling you you were never going to be picked, you might not have put yourself in that situation. But this was a long overdue wake-up call for people like you, ma'am. And you have finally effed around and found out. There's nothing else left to be said, but have the day you voted for. And don't make me say it no more.
I will vote for Donald Trump.
Latinos
I
for
will
Trump.
vote for Donald Trump. He said, not vote, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, we love you. Donald Trump, we love you.
The day you voted for. And don't make me say it no more.
I will vote for Donald Trump.
Latinos for Trump. Specifically, Miami Cubans for Trump. Bring your ass. You bitches on my docket today. Y'all are the definition of political pick-me's. You're so eager, like ready, willing, and fucking able to go from one dictator to the fucking next. Now, I know y'all not systematically accustomed to freedom, but trust me, it's a good thing. Now, when it comes to you white presenting Cubans, I can understand, whether it be you naturally look that way or, you got the work done. I can understand your delusion in terms of, having proximity to whiteness and thinking that you're going to get a seat at the table. And while you may get a seat,
It is with the expressed understanding that the moment you act familiar, them envelopians gonna put you in your place quick, fast, and in a motherfucking hurry by letting you know that you're simply a guest. But again, you look the part so I can understand. But it's you Celia Cruz looking motherfuckers that blow me. Have you niggas looked in a fucking
That wig
mirror?
is terrible.
Like,
I ain't gonna lie, Steffi Webby. I'm with you, Steffi. That wig is terrible on this woman. God damn, that wig looks horrible. Damn it, man.
let's keep it a fucking Goya bean in this bitch.
Then
The
she got a
closest
potty
you-
mouth. She cursing every damn 5 seconds with that terrible wig on her head. That wig look like a mop. Look like you put that wig on a mop and just get the scrubbing the down floor, mopping up the down floor in a restaurant, mopping up the down floor in your home with that wig on. That wig looks so damn terrible, man.
get into a seat at the table is looking at that motherfucker through the window while you cutting the grass. Like, it is what the fuck it is. But since y'all think y'all got it like that, let's try a little experiment. When ICE roll up to collect you niggas,
Take off
Ellie
that
and Gonzalez,
David Crockett wig, man. Sitting up here talking reckless, using all that damn profanity with that wig on your damn head. I'm gonna take that wig and use it to mop up my damn kitchen. Use it to mop up my damn bathroom. Use it to mop up a damn restaurant floor. Damn, that wig looks terrible. Absolutely horrible. You should have came on with a bonnet.
style, I want you to look them square in the face. And I want you to say these 5 words to them. I know black eye Cuban. And let me know how to flex you niggas, Ellie and Gonzalez style. I want you to look them square in the face. And I want you to say these 5 words to them. I know black eye Cuban. And let me know how the fuck it goes. Send me a postcard with Fidel on the fucking front. And when they send you back home, I hope you can't take shit with you but your fucking MAGA merch. As a permanent reminder that the president you voted for is the same president that sent you fucking packing. For decades, we've been trying to give y'all a wake-up call. I bet now you niggas wish you would have picked up the phone.
I will vote for Donald Trump. I'm so happy to inform you that it's time for another riveting episode of Play Stupid Games, Win Stupid Prizes, courtesy of Eldowski. So this is Cuban illegal alien Eldowski, who entered the United States in 2019 under the previous Frumpy Dump administration. Now, he used the document, an I-220A, which is now not recognized by the current Frumpy Dump administration. So as you can see, Eldowski sat to receive this hideous tattoo of Frumpy Dump across his chest. And he loves Frumpy Dump, so much so that during the last election cycle, he made numerous podcasts. He went out protesting on behalf of Frumpy Dump just to get him elected. But now Eldowski, along with 400,000 other Cuban illegal aliens in this country who use the I-220A document, are worried about being deported.
One-on-one with Local 10 News.
Tú has sido fan del presidente Trump.
He describes himself as a fan of President Trump, so much so, he showed us how his admiration for the president is
This fool got Donald Trump tatted on his chest. You talk about bootlicking. This fool went and got Donald Trump. I'm gonna get Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump.
So, he showed us how his admiration for the president is skin deep. 3 sessions, 4 hours long each.
Ya te digo, estaba bien emocionado con Trump.
But his love for the commander-in-chief has turned a bit sour as ICE raids intensify across the country.
Me asusta.
He, like so many other Cubans, are still in jeopardy of being deported.
Last year specifically, it was pretty aggressive.
Attorney Mark Prada estimates there are at least 400,000 Cubans who, like Eldowski, entered the U.S. through the southern border and were released with what's called an I-220A instead of parole.
Why?
I wish we knew the answer to that. It's a problem because the government does not accept that as a legal entry.
So Cubans with I-220As cannot apply to the Cuban Adjustment Act?
That's the government's position.
Prada is currently fighting the Trump administration in court to grant Cubans with I-220As parole and a chance to legalize their status.
We've been arguing that they all have been paroled and that the paperwork's just paper.
In the meantime, Cubans like Eloski find themselves in a dangerous legal limbo. He came to the U.S. in 2019 and thought by now Trump would have helped Cubans like him legalize their status. He says he feels let down, but doesn't regret his tattoo. He's still hopeful for Cubans like him here and those back home, like with Venezuela and Maduro's capture. He still believes the man he holds so close and dear will deliver.
I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So again, he sat for 12 hours to receive this hideous, despicable tattoo, only to be deported by that same man. Make it make sense, because it doesn't. Because if you think that your ass is not going to get deported, you got another thing coming. It doesn't matter what you got on your chest. You better ask the owner of Frumpy Dump Burger. Hey, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Just think about how many legal Cubans he may have convinced to vote for Frumpy Dump, because his ass didn't vote for nobody.
I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Cubans in Florida are being deported in record numbers. Cubans have had a long-standing special relationship with the United States of America and have had special immigration privileges for decades now. Cubans were among some of the Latino population who supported and voted for Donald Trump at the highest numbers, lest we forget the Donald Trump song that they came up with.
Vote for Donald Trump, I love my freedom. I will vote for Donald Trump.
While Cubans
Hey,
held those
good for Donald Trump, Donald Trump, for Donald Trump, for Donald Trump, Donald Trump.
now. Cubans were among Florida are being deported in record numbers. Cubans have had a long-standing special relationship with the United States of America and have had special immigration privileges for decades now. Cubans were among some of the Latino population who supported and voted for Donald Trump at the highest numbers, lest we forget the Donald Trump song that they came up with.
Vote for Donald Trump, I love my freedom. I will vote for Donald Trump.
While Cubans held those privileges for decades, Donald Trump has changed that. According to an article by the New York Times, has repatriated more than 1,600 Cubans in 2025, according to the Cuban government. That is about double the number of Cubans who were repatriated in 2024. And in years that Trump has been president, he has sent more Cubans back than his last three predecessors. Polls, however, suggest that many Cubans who support Trump still do support Trump, but they're confused as to why they thought they would be immune to ICE raids, immune to deportation, and they really thought they were part of the MAGA family. At the end of the day, this is one big fuck around and found out, and I told you so, because you were always Latino in this country. You were never white. You were never MAGA. You were never a part of white supremacy or a part of the white national identity, my love. Now, beloved, look at you. You and Abuelita are getting separated, going to the panaderia to buy Cuban bread. And that's on you. That is not on anyone else, because you voted for this. And this is not me gloating, because no one should be getting separated from their families. No one should be deported. But you guys were one
What
of
do you
the
mean
main.
nobody should get deported? Nobody should be separated from their families. If you committed a crime right now, they're going to lock you up and separate you from your family. Coming over here illegally, being undocumented is against the law. And when you get caught, they're going to separate you from your family. Just like when you break the law here in the United States of America, they're going to separate you from your family and put you in jail or put you in a damn penitentiary. What do you mean nobody should be deported? Like any and everybody should just be able to come over every damn day. It's all gravy, baby. Come over by the millions. Hey, Donald Trump. Man, please. Nobody should be deported.
You and Abuelita are getting separated, going to the panaderia to buy Cuban bread. And that's on you. That is not on anyone else, because you voted for this. And this is not me gloating, because no one should be getting separated from their families. No one should be deported. But you guys were one of the main group of people to tell us to shut up, and that you knew what President Trump was going to do for you.
Thousands of Cubans are facing deportation because the Supreme Court ruled to basically take away the humanitarian parole that was allowing Cubans to come to the United States due to the crisis over in Cuba. And, you know, I'm not shocked because Trump said he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do in his campaign. And I don't feel bad because a lot of Cubans were in support of Trump. I live in Miami, so I know about Cubans for Trump, right? Even the ones who couldn't vote, they were out campaigning for Donald Trump. And if you know anything about Miami Cubans, they are racist. They are racist, not even just to like black people or whatever. They are racist to other Hispanics that don't look like them. Like if you have a little bit of a tan, they are racist towards you. They are colorist, you know, and I don't care if people say, well, I'm not that type of Cuban. Okay, well, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the ones that you know act just like this.
Cubans in Miami are racist just like the Mexicans in Southern California. Please believe it. The Cubans in Miami don't like black folks. They want to be white so bad. That's that anti-black racism. That's that Spanish conquistador education.
And I feel like Cubans shot themselves in the foot, not only just because they were campaigning for Trump, but, you know, you're claiming, you know, to come over to the United States because of the crisis in Cuba and it's not safe there, the communism, but you all are flying to Cuba multiple times a year to visit family, to spend Christmases there, to spend summers there, to stay for a month, but you're claiming that it's not safe to be there and that's why you needed to come to the United States. But there's hella Cubans that are going back to Cuba multiple times a year, right? And documenting it. And that's just not the case for other, you know, immigrants who are going to be affected by, you know, TPS being overturned. Like if you think about Haiti, you can't even fly into Haiti from, like US Airlines cannot fly to Haiti, right? You can get on American Airlines and fly to Cuba, but you can't get on any US airline and fly to Haiti because of the crisis there, right? I do not feel bad for Cubans because they got what they asked for, but I do feel bad for other immigrants who are, you know, facing deportation to a country where they really are not safe there.
Man, I don't feel sorry for no damn immigrants. You think them immigrants feel sorry for your black ass being in slavery in this country? They don't give a damn. So why in the hell do you feel sorry for them? That's the problem with black folks, feeling sorry for every damn body. These same people don't give a damn about you, would never feel sorry for you and what your people then went through in this country, even though you paved the way for them to be here based on the civil rights that your people fought for. Feeling sorry for a bunch of immigrants who don't give a damn about you. That is insanity. That is crazy.
The crisis there, right? I do not feel bad for Cubans because they got what they asked for, but I do feel bad for other immigrants who are, you know, facing deportation to a country where they really are not safe there and they have nothing there, right?
Hey, y'all remember this? The I will vote for Donald Trump crowd? Remember them? Do you remember this video coming up right here?
Vote for Trump. Let's go. Vote for Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Well, now look at this. Cubans are being deported from Florida in record numbers under Trump's second term. Even though many of them backed him, we know the Miami Cubans love to think that they are non-minorities. They love to think that they're better than every other Latino group. They love to think that they came here a certain way and F everybody else. And they very much love to vote Republican and love to vote against their interest. But not working out them so well. How many of them are saying I would vote for Donald Trump now? Because as you can see, they're getting deported like crazy. But remember, y'all was out here with this Cubans for Trump. Now, y'all out here like this. And this is why I will say every time, some of y'all minorities who be trying to act like y'all better than everybody else, meanwhile, half y'all wouldn't be over here if it wasn't off the backs of black people and enslaved people, but I digress. You want to down every other group of people. A lot of y'all Cubans really can't stand black people. Y'all can't stand again other Latino groups. Y'all really think that y'all are the closest thing to whiteness and that you're going to be accepted and that you're this and that. And as you see, when it comes to Donald Trump, he doesn't care about anything that you have to say. He doesn't care that you voted for him.
Shout out to Tiffany for blessing the Cash App. Shout out to Tracy for blessing the Cash App. How come we only got ladies blessing the Cash App? Ain't none of you brothers blessed the Cash App. The only people that blessed the Cash App today were black women. What's up with you brothers? You're watching, you enjoy the content, but the ladies are the only ones that's blessing the damn Cash App. There's something wrong with that. But shout out to the ladies. I appreciate y'all. Y'all brothers need to step y'all damn game up. Let's continue. Yeah, I just thought about that. The ladies are the only ones who appreciate the content, huh?
Y'all are the closest thing to whiteness, and that you're going to be accepted, and that you're this and that. And as you see, when it comes to Donald Trump, he doesn't care about anything that you have to say. He doesn't care that you voted for him or that your family members voted for him, because he gonna round your ass up just like everybody else and show you that you are just like every other minority. He don't give a damn about you.
So bottom line is, they want them Cubans to get deported because they don't want them here. They want white people. Why y'all be begging to be so adjacent? So what is wrong with y'all?
You see how 20 people just left the chat room? Now, when I told these brothers the ladies are the only ones that bless the Cash App, you see how 20 plus people left the room? People don't want to hear the truth. Why are you mad at me for telling the truth? The ladies are the only ones that bless the Cash App. Do you want me to lie to you? Man, I'm finna Lee Red's show, man. He keep telling us the ladies are the only ones. Yeah, man, don't be a sucker. Be a congratulator. Don't get mad at me for acknowledging the damn truth. The ladies are the only ones who bless the Cash App for this show. Man, I'm finna leave, man. Oh, man, I'm out of here. Yeah.
Do y'all really believe that like your skin color makes you superior? Do y'all really believe that? Because like, I just want you to, in case you don't know this, when you all came here and you were in, not just when you came here, but in the school systems, you know they put y'all in special ed classes and called y'all, I'm going to use the word, the official word that was put down. They called y'all retarded. Retarded. That's what they said. Because you couldn't speak English. And guess what else they did? You were in special classes, and you were and in those classes, they didn't teach you reading, writing, math. No, they taught them they taught them skills that would help them be in the labor force. Because they thought you were retarded. Their words. And then when the dark-skinned cousins came over, you said, "You's a nigga." And
Shout out to Danny Valencia. Danny Valencia is the first man who blessed the Cash App today. Shout out to Danny. Well, Daniel Valencia. He's the first man to bless the Cash App.
Didn't help them. Y'all, you're hypocrites, and you want to be around people that think you're retarded. And then you married them. And you married into their family, and you bred children who then called their grandma a nigga. And just because they could now speak English and read and write in English, you thought you got ahead. But guess what? Right now, because, you know, that brown skin be coming up generations, it comes back. Guess what they calling your grandkids? Niggas. I'm moving today, but I just heard this guy I have been begging for decades for Cubans to give me the lowdown on why they seem to not like each other. Not just the
You should
racism.
vote
Okay,
for
like
Kamala. I know you voted for Kamala. I don't want to keep hearing her babble and ramble. Let's move on. I'm done with hearing her babble.
Openly supported Mexican farm workers in California, led
I hate that for us. I really do.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. openly supported Mexican farm workers in California, led by Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta, saying their fight for dignity was part of a larger struggle against economic injustice. Despite this solidarity, many immigrant communities have turned their backs on Black Americans once they gained access to resources, whiteness, or social mobility. After the 1959 Cuban Revolution, many Cubans were granted special immigration privileges and categorized as political refugees. With U.S. government help, they quickly gained access to housing loans, small business grants, and political clout. As they grew in power, many Cuban Americans in Miami aligned themselves with conservative politics, even supporting anti-Black policies. By the 1980s and 1990s, Black residents in Miami were openly complaining that Cuban officials and business owners excluded them from opportunities. In fact, during the 1980 Liberty City riots, many Black Miamians expressed frustration over job discrimination and political exclusion by Cuban immigrants. I have traveled and lived in different countries. What I have seen is that many countries, whether they are Latin, Asian, European, etc., racist behaviors are mainly covert actions, activities that are hidden or concealed, or overt actions, activities that are open, more in your face. Years ago, as I was on my journey of learning Spanish language, I used to watch several Spanish TV programs such as Sábado Gigante, Despierta America, 12 Corazones, and Primera Impacto, etc. While watching these shows through the years, I began to notice that these shows rarely, or if at all, had Afro-Latin people on the shows as host of shows or news anchors. That's when I started looking into the history of Latin American countries. On this Mahogany Culture and Travel channel, I have done a video about the history of Black people in Mexico that you can look at that speaks further on the ancient history of Afro-Mexicans. Since the 1910 Mexican Revolution, people of African descent in Mexico were largely excluded from official documentation and national identity. In Mexico, there is a popular expression of mejorar la raza, a phrase that is used in Latin American countries, which means improve the race. It implies that you should marry or have children with a whiter person so you'll have better-looking kids. La raza has historically been used to refer to the mixed-race populations, primarily, though not always exclusively in the Western Hemisphere. For over a century, Mexico maintained a racial ideology known as mestizaje, which promoted the idea of a mixed-race national identity that primarily included indigenous and Spanish ancestry. This ideology effectively erased the presence and contributions of Afro-Mexicans from the country's history and identity. It was not until 2015 that Mexico officially recognized Black Mexicans as citizens of Mexico in a national census, acknowledging them as citizens with distinct Afro-descendant heritage. This was a significant milestone, as it allowed for Afro-Mexicans to be counted in demographic data, leading to a greater push for their rights and inclusion in national policies. However, racism and colorism remain major issues across Latin America, including in Mexico, Brazil, Honduras, Venezuela, and other countries. Many Latin American nations have deeply ingrained anti-Black biases due to their colonial histories, where African enslavement was brought in to work on plantations, mines, and other labor-intensive industries. Despite the abolition of slavery in the 19th century, racial hierarchies persisted, favoring lighter-skinned individuals and reinforcing discrimination against those of African descent. In many Latin American countries, a racial and social hierarchy exists where white or lighter-skinned individuals of Spanish descent hold the most power, wealth, and influence, while darker-skinned individuals, including Afro-descendants and indigenous people, often face systemic discrimination and economic marginalization. Although Mexico has an Afro-descendant population, the government historically confined them to certain regions, often keeping them out of national consciousness. The majority of Afro-Mexicans live in the states of Guerrero, Veracruz. Veracruz is a historic port city where enslaved Africans were brought. Oaxaca and Costa Chica, a coastal region spanning Guerrero.
Mexicans have denied racism in Mexico. They barely added blacks to the census in 2015. Kept them out of the Constitution, kept them out of the census, even though blacks been in Mexico for centuries. Vincent Guerrero, the second president of Mexico, his nickname was El Negro. He abolished slavery in Mexico. He played a major role in Mexico gaining their independence from Spain. Here called Guerrero, Vincent Guerrero, also known as El Negro, the second president of Mexico. He was fighting for black and indigenous people so that they could have rights. Right after slavery, right after he abolished slavery, they assassinated Vincent Guerrero. Who did it? The white Mexicans, the white Latinos did it because they didn't like the fact that he was fighting for black people to have civil rights. They didn't like that, so they got rid of him. Yeah, you abolished slavery. Yeah, you played a role in us gaining our independence from Spain, but we don't like the fact that you're fighting for black and indigenous people, so we're gonna eliminate you. We don't want blacks to have civil rights in this country. We don't want blacks to have equal opportunities in this country. So the white Latinos in Mexico assassinated Vincent Guerrero right after he abolished slavery. Now that's some real history for your ass.
Lighter-skinned individuals and reinforcing discrimination against those of African descent. In many Latin American countries, a racial and social hierarchy exists where white or lighter-skinned individuals of Spanish descent hold the most power, wealth, and influence, while darker-skinned individuals, including Afro-descendants and indigenous people, often face systemic discrimination and economic marginalization. Although Mexico has an Afro-descendant population, the government historically confined them to certain regions, often keeping them out of national consciousness. The majority of Afro-Mexicans live in the states of Guerrero, Veracruz. Veracruz is a historic port city where enslaved Africans were brought. Oaxaca and Costa Chica, a coastal region spanning Guerrero and Oaxaca with high concentrations of Afro-Mexicans. These areas have historically been underdeveloped, with poor infrastructure.
And that's southern Mexico, right? Those areas are southern Mexico. That's where your Afro-Mexican population is. They're poor. There's no running water, no electricity. They live in extreme poverty in southern Mexico. They said that's where the blacks live. There's no development. There's no infrastructure there. They barely added them to the census, which means that Mexico ignored their whole existence for centuries. You talk about anti-blackness to the fullest extent, to the 10th power.
Afro-descendants and indigenous people often face systemic discrimination and economic marginalization. Although Mexico has an Afro-descendant population, the government historically confined them to certain regions, often keeping them out of national consciousness. The majority of Afro-Mexicans live in the states of Guerrero, Veracruz. Veracruz is a historic port city where enslaved Africans were brought. Oaxaca and Costa Chica, a coastal region spanning Guerrero and Oaxaca with high concentrations of Afro-Mexicans. These areas have historically been underdeveloped, with poor infrastructure, limited job opportunities, and a lack of government investment. The deliberate neglect of these communities has contributed to the continued marginalization of Black Mexicans. Many Afro-Mexicans in these regions have limited political representation, experience racial profiling, and face difficulties in accessing education and healthcare. In countries like Brazil, where the largest population of Afro-descendants outside Africa resides, systemic racism manifests in disparities in education, employment, and police violence. In Mexico, Afro-Mexicans have historically faced exclusion from political representation, economic opportunities, and social recognition. In Honduras, Garifuna communities, Afro-Indigenous peoples, have suffered from land displacement and violence. In Venezuela, despite a history of Black resistance, Afro-Venezuelans often experience discrimination in social and economic structures. Due to these systemic and cultural issues,
Now
black
we have
travelers
listen, we got all the proof. We got tons of proof to show you that Latin America, they're very anti-black. But you know what they're gonna say? No, 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 that's not true. No, 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 that's not true. And we have the evidence to prove that it is true. No, 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 that's not true. We know we know racist to black people. Bull crap. We have the evidence to prove it. Anti-blackness is the mentality all across Latin America. No, 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 that's not true.
in Mexico, Afro-Mexicans have historically faced exclusion from political representation.
We're gonna let the rest of this play. Listen, homie, I have tons of evidence to prove that Latin America, I don't give a damn what Latin American country you go to, they are very anti-black. They got it from the Spanish conquistadors. That's that Spanish conquistador indoctrination all across Latin America. The blacks in Latin America have no media representation. They're not represented in politics. They live in extreme poverty with no opportunities. Don't let these people lie to you. No, 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 that's not true.
Coastal region spanning Guerrero and Oaxaca with high concentrations of Afro-Mexicans. These areas have historically been underdeveloped, with poor infrastructure, limited job opportunities, and a lack of government investment. The deliberate neglect of these communities has contributed to the continued marginalization of Black Mexicans. Many Afro-Mexicans in these regions have limited political representation, experience racial profiling, and face difficulties in accessing education and healthcare. In countries like Brazil, where the largest population of Afro descendants outside Africa resides, systemic racism manifests in disparities in education, employment, and police violence. In Mexico, Afro-Mexicans have historically faced exclusion from political representation, economic opportunities, and social recognition. In Honduras, Garifuna communities, Afro-Indigenous peoples, have suffered from land displacement and violence. In Venezuela, despite a history of Black resistance, Afro-Venezuelans often experience discrimination in social and economic structures. Due to these systemic and cultural issues, Black travelers and expatriates should be cautious when visiting or moving to Latin American countries. While many regions are welcoming, the persistence of racism can affect access to services, treatment by authorities, and general safety. Racial profiling, economic disadvantages, and exclusion from opportunities can make it challenging for Black individuals to navigate these societies. Understanding the history of colonization and its lasting effects can help prepare those who plan to travel or relocate to Latin America, ensuring that they are aware of both the beauty and the challenges that come with experiencing these countries. Tell me what you think about this topic. Hope you find the information.
Right here, man. And let me say this, man. Shout out to Black Bear for the Cash App. Shout out to Crypto Blessings for blessing us with a Cash App. Shout out to you brothers for blessing the show. Because I was saying, like, hold on. You mean to tell me the women are the only ones who appreciate the show? Shout out to Danny Valencia. Shout out to Black Bear. Shout out to Crypto Blessings for all you guys. Shout out to all you guys for blessing the Cash App. You did. No, 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 that's not true. No, 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 that's not true. No, 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 that's not true. No, no, no.
Today, we will hear from Black America speaking on the importance of Black Americans' long overdue delineation from disrespectful immigrants. Check it out.
Trump just ended the protection for Somalis, the ones in Minnesota. He said it's over for them, to send them back to where they came from on his true social media. He's tired of them scamming Minnesota out of hundreds of millions of dollars. He must have heard about that Feed the Kids scam. where they said that they was feeding hundreds of thousands of kids, but they weren't. And he's tired of them terrorizing the people of Minnesota. This is Trump on his true social media. We all know that Minnesota is the home of the largest Somali community in the country. Now, we don't know how this is going to play out. We don't know if they're going to go in stealth mode and send the National Guard into Minnesota. We just don't know how he's going to implement it or if it's even legal to do. But, you know, we're talking about Trump. Trump, he don't care. He don't listen to the judges.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true.
When he said it's over so far, you know? But, yeah, let me know what y'all think about it, especially
Shout out to Crypto Blessings, man. Crypto Blessings is a woman. So, we had two men support the show, and we had 6 women who supported the show today. 6 women and 2 men. Shout out to the 2 men who supported. Shout out to the ladies, because the majority of my support for this show came from the ladies. Salute to the damn ladies for sure.
People in Minnesota.
So listen, fam, you know, it's interesting, okay, to see how these foreigners, you know what I mean? Like, these foreigners are finally like, look, delineation is dangerous for us, okay? You know, can we make a truce? You know, like, what?
No, that's not true.
What? You know what I mean? No. The fact of the matter is, y'all are a detriment to us. You know what I mean? You've proven that you're a detriment to us. Okay? Like, you've proven you can't be trusted. You've proven you might just be the enemy. You know what I mean? And I know it ain't all of you. Okay? I'm gonna tell you, I always gotta put that disclaimer in there. I know it ain't all of you, but boy, you ones that get up enough money to get over here, y'all make sure y'all run for office. Y'all make sure your goal and your mission is to undermine what the fuck we got going on over here. You get what I'm saying? So, yo, nah, you know.
Fighting with them. Why are you coming on here saying things like, well, we told you after that whole situation in Chicago, we told you that you were next. We told you that you were next. What do we have to do with this? Like, I don't understand why you feel so, like, moved to humble Black Americans. You want Black Americans to be humbled so badly. It gives the feeling of jealousy. It gives the feeling of you are upset that we are not in the same situation as you. We're not. It doesn't matter if Black Americans, if ICE comes to all black American apartment complex and harass those people, because they're not getting deported. And even if they did get deported, that would be unlawful. Because where are they deporting them to? This is our home. We're not immigrants. Okay? So the whole FAFO, even if we fuck around, we already know. We're not going to find out because we already know. They've been doing this to us. It's like you want us to be beneath you so bad, and you are upset that you feel like we have one over on you because we're citizens. So you constantly try to make this our problem. And I'm not saying that human rights is not a problem for everybody. I'm just saying that I find it suspicious that Black Americans are simultaneously the worst people in the world and also the people that everybody needs to call on to help them. But make up your mind. Is it Uchiwali? Is it one mic? What do you want from us? What do you want from us? And why do you feel compelled to make us feel like we're in the same situation as you when we're not? Even though we're all in this situation of America and the system and everything is different. You have an immigrant story that we simply do not have. And get over that. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but the approach that you're taking is not going to work with Black Americans. I can tell you that. I can tell you that. We're just going to dig our heels in because we feel like we've already done the hard work. Stop trying to drag us back into a situation that we've already done. After Kamala lost, after everybody tried so hard to get people to vote.
Listen, most of you brothers are not supporting the show, so the least you can do is bless the like button. If you're not going to support the show, like a lot of you brothers are not supporting the show, the least you can do is bless the like button. The least you can do is hype the video and bless the like button. That's the least you could do. Damn it, man. Make yourself useful and bless the damn like button if you ain't going to support the damn show financially. Damn it, that's the least you the least you could do. Hype the video, do something.
I didn't even like Kamala, and I still voted for her. And all the Black Americans I know were like, well, you know, this is going to be horrible if he takes office. So just do that. And y'all couldn't even do that. So what do you want us to do? That was our last ditch effort of sanity. You didn't do that, and now you mad because we like, well, what you want from us? And you're chomping at the bit at any opportunity to make us feel humble because of our position. I really wish you would stop because it just isn't the same for us. It just isn't going to be. It isn't. So
motives, we represent different interests. I represent the people who were here prior to the colonization of this place. Y'all have got to acknowledge that there were people who looked like me, beautifully golden, brown, melanated people were functioning on this land, evolving. Over here, we have adapted to this land here. It is ours, and we are fighting to maintain what is ours. Immigrants, I'm sorry, are doing what colonizers do.
You're the problem because my post is about Black Americans, which you're not a Black American, even though you want to cosplay as one, because you already said that your parents are immigrants. So unless one of your parents is a Black American, you're not a Black American. And you already said that you were Caribbean. So you saying that you're Black American is not correct because Black American is an ethnicity, honey. And not only that, you're commenting on a post that's in response to somebody calling Black Americans white because we are stating that if you are not in favor of Black Americans receiving reparations, then you do not deserve us to care about your issues because you're not caring about ours. It's giving that y'all move here, y'all migrate here, and you believe that Black Americans are still the slaves of the land and that we're supposed to continuously work for every other group while we sit back and we get nothing in return. Every fight that Black Americans have fought for in this country, unfortunately, we have not been able to reap the full benefits of each and individual thing that we fought for. Every system put in place that immigrants get when they come here, because as much as y'all like to deny that y'all don't get assistance, that's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Y'all be talking about, I came here with no money in my pocket, and all of a sudden y'all own businesses, y'all own cars, y'all own homes. Please, please stop it. This is that xenophobic, anti-Black American rhetoric that I'm talking about. Anytime we bring up anything that's a specific issue within the Black American ethnicity community, here comes one of you talking about y'all are bigger than the program. Y'all really think that we should put our stuff aside and concentrate on you? Latinos are not in community with Black Americans. Like, let's be for real. Y'all talking about Afro-Latinos, the same ones who come over here and claim everything as our culture is theirs and say that we have no culture. I just seen a video of a Puerto Rican girl saying that it's not Black American culture in Chicago, where a ton of Black people from the South moved to Chicago. That's why there's such a high population of Black Americans. And our very culture, a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans are in their Puerto Rican parade doing Black American dances to Black American sounds, inspired sounds, and had the audacity talking about, this isn't Black American, this is Chicago culture. That's the erasure that y'all do when you come here. So absolutely not. We are not.
Well, the Latinos tried to do the same thing in New York. They tried to say that hip hop is New York culture. It ain't FBA culture. No, the FBAs who went to New York took their culture with them. They tried the same thing in New York City. Hip hop is the Bronx culture. It ain't FBA culture. But that's that Spanish conquistador mentality. That's that Spanish conquistador indoctrination. That's why you can't trust these people. They want to take what we do and gentrify it and say it's everybody's culture, when in reality, it is our culture. They tried the same nonsense with hip hop, and guess what? We shut that down. I did so much work. I put in a lot of work with that hip hop conversation, telling them that no, foundational Black Americans in New York are the ones who introduce us to hip hop. But it was FBA culture. Hip hop comes from FBA culture. If you study the music that we did prior to hip hop, that's where the elements of hip hop come from. That is FBA culture. But the Latinos in New York, oh no, this is not FBA culture. This is the Bronx culture. Man, please, what are you smoking? Some good dope.
Not going to care about your issues anymore. The fact that we bring up our issues that are impacting our culture, and in response, you guys always bring up whatever issue that is impacting you like it's bigger than the program. It's not bigger than the program, babes. We, as the newest generations that are coming up, we are no longer putting other communities ahead of ours for the sake of just Blackness. Because when y'all come here, y'all make it super clear that y'all are a different type of Black. Y'all only want to say that y'all are united in Blackness because when it benefits you. Remember, I know Black. That's right, you're not, because Blackness has always been established in the United States of America as our ethnicity. Blackness has not been established as an ethnicity in any other part of this world. Blackness is a race, and also in America for foundational Black Americans, it's an ethnicity. So you can take your yap off my page, because at the end of the day, over here, it's Black American pride. Black American. So don't cosplay Black American unless you have a parent who's actually Black American, because the only parent that you spoke on was your mother, and you said that she was an immigrant. So I don't know what your father is. Maybe you're half Black American, but let's not get it twisted. My post is about seeking reparations, not about immigration. Bye-bye.
I don't want to be contained about this subject. I want to tell this subject the way that it is. Simply why we're delineating, why it's important, and why it's not divisive. It's not divisive. It's not even supposed to be. Now, I'm not trying to speak for the movement. I'm not trying to speak for everybody, but I do want people to know that, hey, we're doing this so that we can protect a culture that we have built, that we have created, so that we can protect our ancestors' legacy. That's why we're trying to do it. We don't want to be erased here. And if we stay silent and casual about it, we'll become a casualty. Simple. That is the way that it is. And so I stand 10 toes down with the movement. Foundational Black American. Some people are calling themselves ADOS if they don't like to call themselves Black or whatever. But I think sticking with the term Black because of the history, you know, the whole Black liberation, Black pride, Black excellence, Blacknificent. So sticking with foundational Black American is something that I'm, okay with for the most part. And again, it's not coming from a divisive place. It's coming from a place where we need to define who we are. This is about protecting our culture. This is about moving forward, how we're able to continue to build in this country. Okay, it's difficult to do that with all of us in the same pot of African American. Now, I understand why Jesse Jackson did it in the late 80s, probably thinking that whole thing of unity. But I'd be willing to bet my black card that as a prerequisite for getting into this country or getting a green card, a visa, whatever you call that thing that they get, I bet you that you had to show some level of anti-blackness to do so. Come on, African immigrants, be honest with us. What y'all?
Of course, they had to show levels of anti-blackness to come over here. They're not going to bring immigrants over here that align themselves with foundational black Americans. They're not going to do that. They allow immigrants who are anti-black to come over here. That's why they screen those people before they let them come. Will you align with black Americans? If so, you got to stay in your country. If you're willing to go against foundational black Americans, you can come over here in large droves. So they make sure that these immigrants are anti-black. Even the Africans that they let over here, they make sure that those Africans are not going to align with foundational black Americans before they let them come over here in the first place.
Our parents and grandparents tell y'all about black Americans. Be honest. Because see, with that honesty, that's how we now can move forward. We can repair the damage and we can truly unify, but unify with mutual respect. Because see, that is what has been missing here, the respect factor. So y'all believed all that propaganda about us. Y'all believed all that hype about us. And you came over here acting better than us. Now, I'm a millennial. Our generation, we ain't going for it. I know some of the elder of the Gen X's and some of the baby boomers all about we all African, we all black, all that. They like to say some of them because I hear it a lot from some of the older people. And I've had to have these conversations with them. Like, we are cool with all of that. We're fine with it. But we need to be recognized and we need to be respected for our contributions to this globe. Everyone appropriates our culture. And when our own distant cousins come for us like that, it's a problem. And we're going to address it. They may not like the delivery that a lot of us give, but we're going to address it, which furthers the point that we got a culture, because we got a code, we got a language, we got how we talk. You know, when they say to us, and of course I'm not talking about everybody. It's not everybody. It may just be a minority of people. But guess what? That minority seems to be the loudest on these internet streets. And so if the majority doesn't feel the way that their minority feel, then you need to go to your respective group.
That's nonsense. And I respect what you're saying, sister. They'll say that's only the minority. No, how come the majority ain't saying something? Well, most of us Africans don't feel that way. Well, how come you're not speaking up? Where's the majority of Africans showing their love and solidarity with black Americans? They're not doing that. Why? Because the majority of them feel the same way that those people feel that talk crazy about us. The Africans that you see talking crazy, they represent the majority. They don't represent the minority. They are lying to us. We got enough common sense to see it for what it is. Oh, well, it's only a small percentage of Africans who feel that way. Nonsense. If that's the case, where's the majority of Africans who don't feel that way? Because they're lying. The majority of them do feel that way. Come on, man. We know what it is.
Tribes and check them. Because when black Americans see that you're not saying anything in response to some of the rhetoric and stuff that they're spewing out here on the internet, when we don't see you responding to it or checking it, then we only have reason to believe that you're complicit with it. So rather than getting in our comments saying it's not all of us, we not all like that, go and have those conversations with your people. Do that. And do it publicly so we can see that you're doing it. Otherwise, we're not going to trust it. Otherwise, we're just going to believe the loud share the mighty. I like the way that a content creator that I follow on here, Tabitha Speaks, put it. The minority is louder than the majority.
Tabitha Speaks is a Democratic shield. She voted for Kamala Harris. So I hope you ain't talking all this consciousness and you yourself voted for Kamala Harris. If you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for these damn immigrants to come over just so that they can disrespect you. I'll say that.
We need to do something about that. Now back to this whole thing with the delineation, because we know everybody's not going to be for it. You know, we're not in a diaspora war. We don't even think we're at war with y'all at all. And that is the thing. You know how when, you know, that whole saying like, dang, I ain't know I was in a competition with somebody and they ain't competing with me and I didn't know that we was competing. I didn't know that. That's exactly how some of us Black Americans feel in this whole diaspora war thing that's being spewed out here. What? There is no competition. What? Who's trying to be like y'all? I've never seen anybody in Asian countries or nothing try to appropriate or do anything. Yeah, when Kendrick Lamar was at the Super Bowl this past February, all over TikTok, all over the world, they was dressing like us and dancing like us, but they not like us. So who's trying to be like y'all of the diaspora? Don't worry, I'll wait. And so I'm only saying all of that to say that we do have a culture, y'all. We got a culture. We have a culture and we know where we come from. So this whole thing, y'all don't know y'all.
Let me say this to Black people. If you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for these same immigrants to come over just so that they can disrespect you. So there's no point in talking like you're conscious, talking like your own code when you voted for Kamala Harris. That defeats the purpose of being conscious if you voted for Kamala Harris. 100%. If you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for these same anti-Black immigrants to come over here. Make it make sense. If you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for open borders, abortions, and rainbow community policies. The Democrats promoted gender confusion to our children. So I don't want to hear nobody claiming to be conscious if you voted for Kamala Harris. You voted for the same anti-Black immigrants to come over here if you voted for Kamala Harris. You ought to be embarrassed. You ought to be embarrassed if you voted for Kamala Harris. You voted for open borders.
Come from? Yes, we do. We do. And we have a culture. It could be argued, and I think it's Dr. Claude Anderson that said you guys have customs, not a culture. Do not quote me, people. I got to go back because I could be mixing some people's videos with that. But we have a culture. We have food, soul food. Okay? We have a culture. We have tribes, believe it or not. Because a Black American from Georgia is not the same from a Black American from New York, is not the same from a Black American from Chicago, which is not the same from a Black American from Louisiana, is not the same. There are differences even within us. Real talk.
Oh, man, let me say this. Black people, I want you to understand, if you voted for Kamala Harris, you voted for abortions. A Black woman tried to tell me, well, white women abort their babies too. Shut the hell up about what white people are doing. White folks are damn near 70% of the country. They can afford to abort their babies. Black folks are only 13 or 14% of the population. You can't afford to abort your babies. You want to sit up there and talk about what white women do. Well, white women do it too. Shut up, fool. You sound dumb. What white women are doing. White people represent damn near 70% of this country. They can afford to abort some of their babies. Your Black ass can't afford to do it at 13 or maybe at 14% at the most of the overall population. But you want to talk about what white women are doing. We can't afford to abort our babies at 13 or 14%. White folks are damn near 70% of the population. They can afford to get rid of some. They can afford to get rid of some of their damn babies. But you want to talk about what white folks are doing instead of focusing on what you're doing as a Black woman, as a damn Black man. Well, white women do it too. Man, shut up.
So American from Chicago, which is not the same from a Black American from Louisiana, is not the same. There are differences even within us. Real talk. So I think the first thing that needs to happen is, rather than calling us hate groups, rather than calling us xenophobic because we want to be identified as foundational Black Americans or ADOS, just put some respect on it. Accept it. Because when y'all ancestors, the African immigrants, because I'm only having a conversation with the diaspora right now, when they got to this country, they delineated immediately. They were quick to say that they were South African or Nigerian or Ghanaian or Ethiopian or Somalian or Haitian or Jamaican or Dominican. They were quick to say who they were. They were not aligning with us. And simply all we're doing in 2025 is aligning with each other. Not to be divisive, though.
I want Black people to understand. I want Black women to quit saying what white women are doing. White people are damn near 70% of the population. White folks can afford to eliminate their babies if the child is not going to have a father, and it's going to make it harder for the mother. They're damn near 70% of the population. They can afford to get rid of some of their children if the child is not going to have a father. As Black people, Black women, you got to be more responsible with your womb. You got to be more responsible with your vagina. If you don't want to have babies, be responsible. Stop laying down with men who don't want to marry you. Stop laying down with certain calibers of men. Let me say this. That's like me saying, well, white men unalive each other too. White men don't unalive each other at the same numbers that Black men do. So what's the purpose of me saying, well, white men do it too? I would sound dumb saying that. Show me a city in America where white men unalive themselves at the same rate that Black men unalive themselves in Chicago. You can't show me one city where white men unalive themselves at the same rate that Black men do it in Chicago. You can't name one city. So I don't want to hear that stupid crap. Well, white men unalive each other too. Shut up, fool. You sound dumb. Well, white women abort their babies too. Shut up, you sound foolish. You're only 13 or 14% of the population. You can't afford to abort your babies like white women. Well, white women do it too. Shut up. Well, white men unalive each other too. Shut up. Want to talk about what white folks are doing instead of correcting the behavior in your own damn community, instead of engaging in stupidity. Well, white women do it too. They abort their babies too. They're damn near 70% of the population. You're only 13% of the population. You can't afford to do what white women do.
We're not trying to be divisive. We're trying to make some moves. And to be able to make some moves after seeing the results of this past election last November, we have to do this. And it's not going to be our elders to be able to do it. We got to do it. And most of us are okay with it. We Black and we proud. So all we want is a little recognition and some respect. Put some respect on our names. Then we can begin to repair the damage. And then we can move forward, people. That's who we are. That's how we are. But we're not going to trust you short of that. We don't trust you now. But we should still be able to call ourselves what we want to call ourselves. Now, Jesse Jackson may have been the one to help push that movement and, calling us African American and putting us all in a pot under the pretenses of unity, thinking that we will all get here and unify. But after the last 50 to 60 years, that did not happen. So this is where we are.
And I got to say this to Black women. You do realize when Black men see you wearing a wig, that's more reason for them to not trust you. They're going to say, if she's wearing a wig, then that says something about her mentality and her ideology. So that's less reasons for men to trust you. I'm just being real. You might not like it, but this ain't about your feelings. This is about reality, not about your damn feelings. Stop telling me that white women abort their babies too. I don't want to hear that nonsense. You can't afford to do what white women do when you're only 13 to 14% of the population in this country. Stop talking about what white women do. White folks are damn near 70% of the overall population in this country. They can afford to do stupid stuff. They represent the majority of the population. You at 13 to 14%, you can't afford to do stupid stuff. It ain't going to work the same way for you that it'll work for them. I'm sick of you fools talking stupid. Well, white women do it too. Shut up, fool. Well, white men unalive each other too. Shut up, fool. You can't show me one city in this country where white men unalive each other at the same rate that black men in Chicago unalive each other. You can't show me one white city that does that at the same rate that black folks unalive each other in Chicago, unaliving each other in St. Louis, unaliving each other in Philadelphia, unaliving each other in Memphis, unaliving each other in Detroit. And the list goes on. I'm sick of you idiots talking about what white people do.
For more than 400 years, foundational Black Americans, those whose ancestors built this nation from slavery through Reconstruction, Jim Crow, the Civil Rights Movement, and into the modern era, have carried a distinct and irreplaceable story. It is a story forged through forced labor, legal segregation, generational terror, political resistance, and cultural brilliance. And today, as America continues changing, the need for clear delineation, a respectful but firm distinction between foundational Black Americans and Black immigrants, has become more important than ever. Delineation is not about division. It is about accuracy, justice, and preservation. For too long, the unique lineage, struggle, and achievements of foundational Black Americans have been blended into a vague, catch-all Black category that erases the specific people who built the foundation upon which America stands. FBA delineation is a corrective, an act of self-definition. It ensures that our history, our lineage, and our political claims remain intact, unmuddied, and respected. Historically, no group has paid a higher price for American democracy than Black Americans whose ancestors were enslaved here. The wealth of this nation,
and shout out to the brother, man. I gotta be real. I say what I say out of love. I really do. It's no point of us saying that white people do it too, when we know it don't affect white people at the same level that it affects us. We're only 13 to 14% of the population. We can't afford to unalive each other. We can't afford to abort our babies. Well, white women abort their babies too. White people can afford to do stupid stuff. They're the majority of the population in this country. You can't afford to do what white women do at 13 or 14% of the overall country's population. Black men can't afford to unalive each other, and we're only 13 to 14% of the overall population. You can't afford to do what white people do. Wake up and quit being foolish. Well, white people do it too. Shut up, fool. Talking about what white folks do. You sound crazy.
cotton industry, its early banking system, its railroads, its agricultural expansion was built directly on the backs of FBA labor. And even after emancipation, it was foundational Black Americans who endured lynching, redlining, disenfranchisement, and segregation, yet continued to push the country toward its own stated ideals. During the 1950s and 60s, the Civil Rights Movement, led overwhelmingly by foundational Black Americans, changed the legal architecture of America. From the bus boycotts to sit-ins, from Freedom Summer to Selma, FBA activists fought, bled, and died to dismantle racist immigration quotas, racist labor laws, and racist voting restrictions. One of the most overlooked facts of American
All I'm saying is this, man. When people say, listen, ladies, you have control when it comes to who you give your body to, ladies. We need to focus on things that we have control over. We have complete control over who we hang out with, who we have sex with, who we decide to make our friends, what we eat. We have control over all those things. So let's focus on the things that we have the power to change. But of course, you don't want to do it. You don't have the discipline to take the pork off of your fork. You don't have the discipline to stop having sex without condoms. This is why you're having all these abortions, because you give men your body who don't want to marry you, and you have an excuse for it. You know, this woman told me, well, you can't make a man be a father. Well, how come you don't vet men better? See, most of the time when I hear ladies say that, it's a hit dog that hollers. You gave your body to a man that left you, and he's not a father to your child. So you're going to make excuses for it and saying, you know what? We need to make better decisions when it comes to the men we lay down with. Instead of her saying that, she made an excuse. Well, a man can leave you even if he said he's going to be the father. How come you didn't vet the man? Did you meet his family? Did you study the man's history? Now, we know nothing is 100% proof. But the least you could do is vet the men that you're going to lay down and put yourself at risk at getting, you're going to put yourself at risk to getting pregnant by a man who never had any intentions on wifing you up. So I don't want to hear that excuse. Well, any man can leave you with a baby. You made a terrible choice when it came to the man that you laid down with. And instead of you taking accountability, you make excuses for it and say, well, men do this. Why don't you make better decisions when it comes to the men that you sleep with? Maybe you wouldn't have baby daddies. Maybe you just might be married in your late 30s, damn near 40, your mid 30s, or whatever. Shout out to the ladies who get it, because there's a lot of black women who understand what I'm saying, and salute to them. I'm sick of the women that make excuses. I'm sick of you black men that make excuses for unaliving each other. Well, it's because of white supremacy. It ain't because of white supremacy. I blame it on stupidity and self-hatred. You want to blame it on white supremacy instead of taking accountability for the dumb stuff that you're doing in your own community. The white man ain't forcing you to do it. The white man didn't force the black woman to lay down with a man that's not her husband, and so the point to where she get pregnant. The white man didn't force you to lay down with Pookie. The white man didn't force you to lay down with Ray Ray. The white man didn't force you to lay down with Day Day. You made a conscious decision to do it. I don't want to hear no excuses.
History is this: the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, the very law that opened America's doors to millions of black immigrants, was made possible by the sacrifices of foundational black Americans. Had it not been for the victories of the civil rights movement, the U.S. immigration system would have remained locked under the old racial quota structure that favored Europeans almost exclusively. It was the courage of FBA leaders, people like Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker, and countless unnamed foot soldiers that forced America to remove racial barriers in immigration policy. In a real sense, immigrant opportunity is a direct inheritance of FBA struggle.
All I'm gonna say is this, and these be educated women who say this dumb stuff. So you mean to tell me you so damn smart and got all this education, but you didn't have enough discernment to realize that the man that you laid down with wasn't going to be a father to your children? You didn't understand that he was going to abandon you and your child? You're so smart, but you wasn't smart enough to figure that out? You're so smart and so educated, but it's clear that you lack discernment when it comes to men. See, no amount of education is going to give you knowledge when it comes to men and how you need to carry yourself as a woman. This is why I say money and education does not make women wife material. These be so-called educated women. You mean to tell me you didn't have enough discernment to realize that the man that you laid down with, that he didn't want to be a father, that he wasn't going to marry you, or he didn't even want to be a father to the children, so much to the point to where he abandoned you and that damn child? You didn't have enough discernment to see that, but you're so damn smart and you're so damn educated. But you got a third grade education when it comes to men. All these degrees and all this education, but you got a third grade education when it comes to men. You didn't have enough discernment to realize that that man was going to abandon you and your damn child. You wasn't smart enough to see it.
Yet as the decades passed, especially from the 1970s forward, many black immigrant communities began entering America without the historical context of the FBA fight. And instead of solidarity, many arrived misinformed, influenced by anti-black stereotypes, or pressured to assimilate into anti-black racial hierarchies. Some gravitated toward distancing themselves from black Americans, adopting the biases of the dominant society to gain proximity to whiteness. In many cases, politics, workplaces, corporate spaces, academia, and business sectors, certain immigrant groups aligned themselves with conservative anti-FBA institutions. Others participated in reinforcing disproven myths about foundational black Americans being lazy, criminal, or undeserving, even while benefiting from the system's FBA ancestors forced open. This resulted in tension, resentment, and cultural disrespect. Our culture, jazz, hip-hop, gospel, soul food, our fashion, our language, our struggle, was copied, commodified, or dismissed, yet rarely credited. FBA history was overshadowed by Pan-African narratives that ignored the very specific American lineage of enslaved Black people and their descendants. And now, something new is happening. Many immigrants who once believed they were insulated from anti-Black hostility are receiving wake-up calls. Under Trump-era policies and rhetoric, they face travel bans, deportation pressures, job discrimination, and the realization that aligning with white supremacy never saves you from white supremacy. This has exposed a hard truth. Disrespecting foundational Black Americans was not only morally wrong, it was politically short-sighted. FBA delineation helps restore balance. It places responsibility and credit in the proper historical order. It allows foundational Black Americans to protect our political lineage, our reparations claim, our cultural identity, and our collective legacy without being drowned out by groups who have different
Shout out to the brother, man.
histories, struggles, and agendas. Delineation is essential because FBA issues are not interchangeable with immigrant issues. Mass incarceration, lineage-based discrimination, wealth theft, and redlining did not impact Black immigrants the same way they devastated FBA communities. Reparations must be lineage-specific. No other group was enslaved in the United States for 250 years. Political representation must reflect actual lineage interests.
All right, so listen, man, that's about it, though, man. That is about it. He said the neck tattoo on a woman is a no-go for me. I feel you. The neck tattoos, it is a no-go. I don't even like women with tattoos. I really don't. It's a dead giveaway, man. You know, just follow your instinct and it'll never fail you, right? It is what it is. Ladies, you have complete control when it comes to who you give your body to. If you're so smart and so educated, how come you wasn't smart enough to recognize that the man that you laid down with was going to abandon you and that damn child? You wasn't smart enough to see that, but you're smart enough to see everything else. You're not going to get any excuses for me. You don't get no pass over here. You don't get any excuse. If you're smart enough to figure out everything else and you want to run your mouth like you're so intelligent, but you wasn't smart enough to see that the man that you laid down with wasn't worth to them. Oh, you wasn't smart enough to see that, but you're so educated. You know everything else, but you ain't smart enough to see the type of man that you laid down with. Oh, I get it, but white women do it too. The excuse for that, well, white women do it too. I'm sick of these damn excuses. I am sick of it. You got a 3rd grade education when it comes to men, but you got multiple degrees in everything else. You wasn't smart enough to recognize that the man that you laid down with was going to abandon you and that child. You wasn't smart enough to see that. But you're smart enough to know everything else. Man, please, you got a 3rd grade education when it comes to men. I'm going to get up out of here, man. And you brothers, I got to be real with you guys. The white man ain't forcing brothers to unalive each other. If you have a baby with a woman, take care of the child. You might not like the woman, but the least you can do is take care of the child, even if you don't want to be with the woman. That's the least you can do as a man. Be responsible with your seed, brothers. You impregnate that woman, take care of the kid, be a man and step up to the plate. You ain't got to be with the woman, but the least you can do is take care of the child. That's the least that you can do. You know, we got to hold our people accountable. Black people got to focus on the things that we have control over. We have full control over who we vote for. We got full control when it comes to how we pick our friends. We have full control when it comes to the people we sleep with. We have full control when it comes to the people that we procreate with. I don't want to hear no excuses. Black folks need to focus on the things that we have the power to change. Why would white people put you on an equal playing field as them when their main job is to maintain white supremacy? The thing was to obtain white supremacy, and once you obtain it, now you must maintain it. White folks would never put you on an equal playing field as them. You got to take power. You got to put yourself in a position of power as black people. White folks ain't going to give you a damn thing. White folks didn't beg for power when they came to America. They took the power that they have today. They didn't beg nobody for nothing. They rallied up the troops. They organized and they took the power that they had today. They didn't beg nobody for it. So what makes you think that white folks are going to listen to you and put you on an equal playing field as them? It'll never happen. You got to find a way. You got to find a way to overthrow that system. You got to find a way to put you and your people in a position of power. White folks ain't going to give you a damn thing. White folks didn't obtain power in this country by begging for it. They took it. They organized and they took power in this country. They didn't beg for nothing. You're crazy if you think white folks you're crazy if you think they're going to put you on an equal playing field as them. That defeats the whole purpose of white supremacy. So why would they enslave black folks for 300 plus years just to turn around and put you on an equal playing field as them? That defeats the purpose of white supremacy. The main goal was to dominate you. The main goal was to conquer you. Why would white folks take a group of conquered people and put them on the same playing field as them? It's not going to happen. You don't get power by begging for it. You don't get equality by begging for it. You got to find a way to put yourself and your people in a position of power. Ain't nobody going to give it to you. Anyway, man, I'm going to get up out of here. Peace, love, and blessings. Giving you gain to keep you from stressing. It's King Supreme. I'm signing